Boy, oh boy, if you don't know, if you get confused on Donald Trump when he's speaking, he has an explanation on how he, puts everything together, and it's called the weave, and it's really, really interesting or stupid.
Look forward to the debate with her. But what happened, with Afghanistan, I do the weave. You know what the weave is? I'll talk about like 9 different things, and they all come back brilliantly together. And it's like, and friends of mine that are like English professors, they say, it's the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. But the fake news, you know what they say? He rambled. That's not rambling. What you do is you get off a subject to mention another little tidbit, then you get back onto the subject, and you go through this, and you do it for 2 hours, and you don't even mispronounce one word. And they say he had 100,000 people. In New Jersey, we had 107,000 people.
No, you didn't.
Would like to report it, so I say it. But
this dipshit thinks he's like Quentin Tarantino doing a movie, and he's putting together everything, and at the end of it, you're like, oh, that's what he meant the whole time.
It's like, he's an idiot. And he thinks that, it's really like a childish buffoon. It's like, oh, they're talking about me rambling. How can I make it seem like I don't ramble? So I come up with this big story about, well, my friends are English professors and they say, and it's just like, this is like literally what children do, what you do in like elementary school. It just reminds me of like, wow, it's just
when you're feeling super insecure. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. He's insecure about everybody calling him stupid and that he rambles. So this is how he conjured it up. Or probably it's possible one of his sycophants came up to him and said, they don't realize what you do, sir. And then he was like, yes, that's what I'm going to use in my next rally, is that they gave me an idea that I come up with something so brilliant that it comes together at the end, which...
did he think that made people think he doesn't ramble because his friends, the English professors, said it's brilliant what I do? Like, that's the stamp that you're putting. So people said, they said.
And I'm confused at this point. I don't know if he's trying to convince the audience or he's trying to convince himself, or it's just a combination of both. Maybe he like I said, he's so insecure that he's got to come up with something to make himself feel better about it. And the people there, he needs to convince, just in case they heard that he is really dumb and rambles and everything. But those people there never heard anybody say that because they don't watch, anything outside of the propaganda bubble.
For someone to believe Donald Trump, that right there, you have to be more dumb than he is. And that's pretty fucking crazy because he's an idiot. And a sane, like my grandson would listen to that and scratch his head. And he's 10. How is anyone lit? And then he's got the people in the friggin' Halloween costume, hard hats on in the back to fake like he's pro-union.
Yeah.
After we already knew you rented out a whole plant to fake and act like you were like giving a rally at like a real union hall. Like, this is nuts.
Everything is show for him, just like when he has the blacks for Trump behind him, as if he has this huge coalition of black people who are now all of a sudden going to vote for him because he sells sneakers, and he, just the stuff like that. Everything's a grift with him. Everything is a lie. And I'm hoping enough people see that to where it is a convincing win for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in November, and we can end this nonsense once and for all. Trust me, I would be happy to never have to mention this dude's name ever again. I like doing these kind of podcasts. I like talking politics. I like talking about stuff like this, and politics will be around for as long as we are both alive. There's absolutely no question. So there's always going to be something to talk about. Getting rid of this guy is something I cannot wait for. I can't wait until we no longer have to talk about this. Although, regardless, let's say even if he doesn't win, we'll be talking about him well into 2025 because he'll be making plenty of news in 2025.
Yeah. They'll have court cases, hopefully.
Yep, left and right. So, and I guess today they tried to have the hush money case moved out of federal court. So basically, they could go by the state court and maybe change the ruling and avoid the sentencing that's going to happen on the 18th. Well, that was shot down, so that little plan didn't work. So the sentencing will happen on the 18th. Whether or not he's sentenced to prison or not, that is up for debate. A lot of people have said yes. A lot of people said no. So what do you think? What have you heard?
Yeah, he's not going to prison. It's not
for this one.
Yeah, it's not. It's, it's a crime what he did, but it's not dead ass that serious that he's going to get a prison sentence.
Well, others have, based on the same crime, but
first offense, old rich white man whose privilege is not going to prison.
Yeah. I mean, I think, especially with the election coming up, you don't want it to look, political. And again, that's which is, to me, it's kind of like the who gives a fuck, ignore that shit. Like we were talking about earlier with the media, he doesn't get to dictate how this goes. I mean, it's not up to him anymore. This nonsense is done. We're done with your fucking nonsense. We're done with you thinking that you run this shit. You don't. And guess what's happening now? Kamala Harris runs this shit now is what's happening. And from this point on, especially from 1 week from today, the whole country is going to see how she runs this shit because she's going to run circles around this clown in that debate, mics or no mics.
Yeah. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I cannot wait.
I can't wait either.